Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Drone Wars. This is episode 51 now. That's a lot of episodes. So, here in front of us we can see the Federation and Pirate Empire are still continuing their struggle for superiority over in this galaxy, I guess. We're just gonna see which side it gets the upper hand here. Okay, so starting off strong, the Federation decided they're going to be turning this world over here into a new shipyard world. Well, it's already been a shipyard world, but they've upgraded to a level 2, so that allows them to make more ships there. Of course, they are struggling a little bit down there, but up here, they want to slow down some of these other forces, so they're actually going to take their fleet that was here, and they're going to move it this way. They didn't like that this planet was taken over by the pirates in the last episode, and it's a shipyard. So they're going to be going after it with their own forces here. I don't know if they're going to be able to do much, but they're going to try their best. Alright, here we are. We're on Trident in the mountains, and this is going to be a really big battle. Over here we can see this Federation fleet, which is severely outmatched, despite how powerful it is. You've got a carrier, you've got a battleship, you've got a frigate, you've got corvettes, and you've got a decent enough fighters. Normally that would be enough for most engagements, but for this, the Pirate Empire is outnumbering them by a lot. You can see here they have their supercarrier, they've got 3 battleships, they have 5 corvettes, and a bunch of fighters in the back. I believe that's 11 total. So we're just gonna see how this turns out. I'm actually not sure if they're gonna handle it that well. Almost immediately you can see there's a lot of missiles being fired. That's a lot of torpedoes. There's already a lot of railgun fire going out. Going after all these missiles. You can see there are some attempts here to take out all these, but I don't even think that carrier is going to be able to handle that much. It's definitely not going to be able to handle that. It's trying. That's a massive amount of damage. I'm actually surprised that ship is still flying. The other ships are trying to move in and doing whatever damage they can. Here comes the corvettes, already starting to get hit. There's a lot more missiles on the way. This is definitely going to hurt. There's already shots going off in that direction, trying to take out some of those fighters or other ships, and there's a lot of hits coming in. There are entire chunks coming off of the carrier here. And you can see the fighters are already in battle over there in the distance. It seems like some missiles are also going after the battleship here. Oh, these corvettes are just firing away, but they're going to be taking quite a bit of hits. You can see here these fighters are not going in. They're going to provide an excellent distraction for most of these other ships. You can see out here that this supercarrier is now moving in closer. The other battleships are out in the back and they're firing away as many torpedoes as they can. And there's even more torpedoes coming out here. This is definitely not looking good. We can see here this carrier is barely even capable of flight at this point. It might actually be falling. See, there's a lot of missiles going after that battleship over there. The entire front of the ship has just been removed. It's just... There's even more missiles on the way. Kind of crazy to see that this thing is still trying to fire its weapons despite having lost most of its thrusters. It is falling very quickly though. Yeah, things here are not turning out that well for our ships here. This frigate in the back is doing whatever it can to deal with the smaller ships, but it's definitely not going to be enough. There's a lot of damage here. You see these fighters are just being torn apart. They're still doing whatever they can, but they're not going to be lasting all that long. Definitely some collisions on the ground down there as these ships are just crashing down. This ship is still holding on with its shields, but it is taking hits. There's a lot of missiles being fired again. Kind of surprising to see that there's still at least some of this battleship left, though not much. That's definitely a lot of damage. Surprising to see there's still fighters doing their best down there. Although they should be going down pretty soon. That definitely looks to be the case. Here's some remnants of the battleship down here that are still down there. As well as one of the corvettes over there. There's definitely quite a bit of lag here. course, this ship is still firing its cannons it still has on board, even though its AI has been completely destroyed. Yep, that ship is definitely going to crash into the mountainside over there. It's a big explosion over here. I believe that was one of the smaller ships. Yeah, it's one of the corvettes. It's completely lost its hydrogen there. It's still trying. Off in the distance we can see the frigate is still alive. So we're just going to move over in that direction. It's still trying to do whatever it can with range. I don't think this frigate has even taken that much damage. Yeah, this frigate's doing perfectly fine for the most part. If it's lucky, it might be able to do some of the damage it needs to do. At least with taking out a few of these ships. But it looks like most of them are definitely outclassing it. Seems like some missiles are being fired towards that frigate there. Some of them are locked on target, but some of them weren't. There's definitely some moving in. Yeah, once this frigate's knocked out of the ground, I think this battle's completely over. Oh. Seems like some of those missiles are actually countered. But there are more moving in right over there. It's definitely trying to deflect all these missiles by firing its own. But I don't think that's going to be enough. It is dodging though. Those are some really good evasive maneuvers. It just dodged almost all of those. While it did take a hit to the nose, all the other missiles have been dodged successfully. So now it's just going to move in and continue to fire away at whatever it can. It is moving in strategically to try taking out some of these other ships carefully. I think the larger cannons are primarily focusing on the other frigates. Definitely some missiles being fired in the distance over there, and those might be coming towards the frigate here. It's got to fire whatever it can to counter those. And it needs to be careful about being in the way of these cannon shells. If it keeps this up, it might actually be able to take down maybe one or two ships. That is, if it doesn't get noticed by all the other ships that are firing missiles in its general direction. It needs to fire those anti-missile missiles really soon, because there's more missiles coming in. It looks like some fighters might be targeting it as well, which is not good. Yeah, all those smaller missiles are going to be a problem. And a fairly big one too. So I'll distract it from the more dangerous missiles, and it'll progressively do small amounts of damage throughout the ship. Torpedo. Got hit on the nose again by some torpedoes, which is not good for it. There's even more coming in. So They're going towards the rear of the ship. Looks like the entire side just came off there. There's even more coming in. Yeah, that's not healthy. There's even more coming in as well. And he got directly hit by a cannon shell. That's definitely not good. More cannon shells, and of course the fighters are targeting it as well. Actually, it's one of the other ships moving in. Yeah, it looks like one of the battleships down there is actually getting close. This frigate might not be able to handle this. This frigate might be going down now. It's trying to fire as many defenses as it can, but there seems to be a bit too many missiles around the place. Yep, this frigate's definitely going down. That's a lot of torpedoes. The ship is basically just disintegrated. Alright, looks like the Federation has finally lost that battle. From here, it's just checking to see if there were any losses on the Pirate Empire side. See, all their battleships are intact. All their frigates are basically intact. And even their supercarrier is intact. So yeah, I don't think there were any real losses on the Pirate Empire side, apart from like a few fighters, but those are regenerated by the carrier. So we're going to return back to the board and we're going to update that. Alright, so we're back to the board, And well, this area is still under pirate control, but now that it's the pirates' turn, the pirates are going to be really aggressive with the Federation here. I mean, for starters, they've taken over yet another planet over here. Just, taking care of this lower section here, slowly getting rid of these planets. And all the way up here, they've decided to move in this way and take over this former shipyard. That's kind of just dividing the Federation up even more. You can see there's these lone planets. It's being divided to smaller pieces. The Federation's not doing too great. And then the last action that the Pirate Empire is going to take, they're going to take their fleet that was here and they're going to go directly after this shipyard here. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see all of these ships and they're going to be taking on these Federation fleets one at a time. They're going to go after this fleet here first, and it's going to be the first time we see the Federation supercarrier in action. So this is going to be an interesting fight. This will be happening in the ocean to make things even more interesting. Alright, so here we are. We're in the middle of the ocean. Up in front of us here we can see the pirate fleet that's attacking. It's a somewhat formidable fleet, not the strongest, but definitely not a weak fleet. They've got a battleship that carries some fighters, they've got 3 frigates, and they've got a collection of fighters. Usually that is enough to take on most of the other fleets that are seen on the board, but they're going against probably the Federation's most powerful fleet currently. So you can see they have their own supercarrier here, the Vindicator. They have their battleship there, they have a cruiser, they've got a frigate, they've got 3 corvettes, and a lot of fighters. I guess we shouldn't wait any longer. Let's go ahead and just begin this battle. We're going to go ahead and observe how this plays out. There's a lot of point defense, but there's a lot of missiles. I think those missiles might hit. Definitely a few hits, but the shields have absorbed it, or some of it. All these ships are going to slowly start moving in. There's already some cannon shells moving in. More missiles are being fired. A lot of cannons being fired back and forth here. There's already some battles here between the smaller ships. There's still a lot of missiles going down here after the battleship. It's doing its best, but those missiles are hitting. As you can see, there's even more missiles being fired by the cruiser. And of course, these fighters should begin approaching now. You can see that the enemy fighters are, the Pirate Empire's fighters are being completely shredded by these corvettes. These corvettes are starting to take some railgun fire. There's definitely a lot of missile going around here, trying to take out the fighters. You can see here there's definitely fighters trying to move in, but they're taking hits. They don't seem to be handling that kind of missile very well. There's a lot of missiles going around here as there's some dogfighting going on. And of course the main weapons on that on the supercarrier are starting to fire away. Of course, more missiles are coming in, and now a very large amount of fighters should be moving in on the enemy ship as well. Now the ship is just going to be firing all of its weapons to try to get those fighters off of it, but there are a lot of them. I believe that supercarrier holds 12 of them, so there's a lot. And these are going to tear into that battleship. Some collisions here. These fighters are getting a little bit too close for comfort. Still plenty more fighters on the way. Out here we can see the supercarriers just going in and just firing away at everything. All the railguns on there are just tearing apart these enemy ships. There's a lot of damage going to that border. Of course, that supercarrier is just charging straight in, trying to get as close as possible to use all of its weaponry on it. That battleship over there is being hit by so many fighters all at the same time. And this frigate's taking quite a bit of laser fire here, though most of the railguns seem to be firing at other targets further away. Yeah, those railguns are definitely tearing apart this frigate. This frigate's trying to do its best. It seems like these railguns are going straight through the armor. Down here we can see this battleship is trying to take on these fighters in all directions. It's taking quite a bit of damage from these fighters. Seems to have cut a lot of its hydrogen. Definitely taking some cannon shots. It is doing whatever it can to tear apart this frigate. The entire front is gone. A lot of railguns being fired. I think it's trying to target the battleship up here, which I think has noticed as well. It's going after him. Yeah, this battleship is very busy trying to deal with those fighters. It's taking quite a bit of damage from them. Shields on it are holding. It is firing a lot of railgun. See, there are corvettes still in the battle trying to fire from a distance. It seems like this frigate down here isn't doing particularly well, but it is trying to sneak up on some of the other ships here. There's a lot of missiles over here being fired. It seems like this cruiser is dealing with the fighters and other smaller ships. It's doing a pretty good job at taking them out. No, actually, that's an entire frigate that's been sunk. In the meantime, this battleship here is going to fire away all of its cannons, trying to take out both that frigate and the battleship up there. I actually don't even know if the other frigate that was around over there earlier is still alive or not. Definitely a lot of cannon shells coming towards it here. Trying to pull off some evasive maneuvers, but he's taking hits. These two ships here are facing off against each other. There's definitely a lot of railgun going in. And I think this ship might have lost one of its main reverse thrusters, so it's just decided to try going in at full speed. If that doesn't get sorted out soon, it's definitely going to sink. It's going to fire away with everything it's got. Big explosion. This carrier might go into the water a little bit here. Now it's going to fire away with all of its closer range weapons. Some missiles being fired away here as a distraction. here it goes. It's definitely trying to do some maneuver here. This carrier here is partially in the water, but it is getting out of the water now. It's gonna fire away everything it can. It's gonna try breaking through that armor. There really isn't much left on this battleship here. This thing is still flight capable somehow, and it's still trying its best to stay airborne. That's only gonna last for so long. That looked important. It's definitely losing more of its thrusters than it can handle. Pretty soon it's going to fall out of the sky. I think it is starting to fire away. It's what, maybe a fighter moving in? Oh yeah, there are definitely some fighters still alive. And now a supercarrier is moving in just close enough to be able to do more damage. At this rate, this battleship might actually start sinking. It is definitely sinking. There it goes, completely underwater. We go to the rest of the battle over here, we'll see if there's any frigates or anything left. Doesn't look like there's much left, if anything at all. Seems like every single ship in the Pirate Empire is sunk. I was gonna look at the rest here. It looks like one Iron Wing has sunken, so we did lose one corvette. But everything else here seems perfectly fine. So yeah, that should be the last battle here. Alright, so back at the board here. Yeah, the pirates have completely failed to take over that planet, which is actually great for the Federation, as they'll be able to use that to continue building more powerful fleets. Granted, if they're able to make the income to make more powerful fleets, they've been losing a lot of planets lately. I guess there isn't really anything else here in this episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you guys want to join Season 2, there is a link to the Discord in the description down below. Without further ado, that's the end of the video, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care.